on this coldish, springish day. Let's start with the video as usual while we are waiting for the rest to join us. Okay, you can play the video for us.
Okay, morning everyone. I'm just gonna play the video now. Oh. Sorry, I think I'm playing the wrong screen. Just have a lot of tabs open. Okay. I see now we have 558 people. That's it, Meander?
Yes, I think we can start. So we'll start the recording officially. Who's going to record? Nkele, are you going to record?
I can do that.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Zoom session. I hope you are prepared and you are ready to learn all kinds of things. Some of you have already attended in-person classes, so you've already had some fun with the activities and the content. It's a very interesting chapter this week, and others will still attend today and on Monday. So welcome here, and we hope you're going to learn something. So in today's session, we are doing 2.4. Nkele is the expert for the day. I'll be chairing, and Megan will help with some of the questions and the technical things. So over to you, Nkele. Let's just get a quick overview of what 2.4 is all about.
Okay, morning everyone. Thank you, Meander. Morning, students. Yes, 2.4 is all about social influence and persuasion. So in this chapter, the 4 outcomes, we are going to differentiate between the 2 types of social influence, and also look at the strategies or the techniques that are used to persuade people, not persuade, but to influence people. And we're also now going to look into outcome 3, which focuses on persuasion, and also the 2 routes of resisting persuasion in outcome 4. So basically, you did see the little video. On the chat now, if it's gonna be possible. I just wanted us to do something, but I mean that's basically that is what this whole this study unit is all about.
Thanks. Yes. So I think the important thing now is to just post the Q&A link so that we can get the questions. So long, remember you are supposed to be prepared for this session. So coming to the session, you must already know which questions you have and what it is you want to ask. So I will post the link soon, or if one of you colleagues have it, then you can also post it. And then yes, we can start with the first outcome and activities to just give the students a little bit of time to start giving their questions. Do you have a first activity, Nkele, that you want to do?
Yes, Meander, thank you so much. Like I just said, I first want to look back onto to this prank that we just saw now. It did address one of the topics that we are talking about today. So on the chat, I'm going to post a question just so that the few people who saw the video or the prank that we just played can tell us what type of social influence was indicated in this video that we just saw, just to introduce and to see if everybody understands the whole concept of social influence. So I don't know if the chat ready.
The chat room is open. So for those ones who didn't see the video, what was the video about?
So the video was about a group of people standing at the bank, and there was a security guard who was telling them to do all sorts of activities. The other people were prepared because they knew what was happening, because it's a prank, and the other people were just the normal people. I see already their responses. So the other people were just, they didn't have a clue of what's happening. So they just literally were just following what is happening on that video. So before I give it away, I'm quite impressed, Mianda. I see, I didn't even post the question on the chat, but there's already answers. So
they're listening, that's good.
Listening is good. And this colleagues means that they have a good understanding of what normative influence is all about.
Ladies and gentlemen, just a brief reminder, good morning, that if you want to chat, please choose the everyone option and not the direct message, because I see I'm getting a few direct messages. So just make sure you choose on that blue little button, the everyone option, so that everyone can see your answer.
Yes, if indeed you want everyone to see your answer.
Okay. Can I continue? Is it?
I see many people are giving answers in the chat, and yeah, I think most of them understood. So
Yes.
about normative, and this is what we're going to talk about also today. Normative influence, the fact that people conformed, public compliance. Somebody's saying so. Yes, people are prepared at least. That's great.
Yes, it's wonderful. Okay. Is it fine if I continue with the next activity that I have in mind, Mianda, if you would agree?
You can. We're giving them some time to just ask their questions. So before we go to questions, we'll just give them a few moments, and that's why we can do some activities along. Thanks.
Okay. All right. So I have a meeting. I'm gonna drop now the link now, and I'm gonna talk about what is expected on this particular one, and so that the other people can have access to the Minty as well. So on this specific Minty, now that we have spoken about, we have seen this video and we are now having an idea of what the normative influence is. I want us to now think back into our own personal lives and think about people in our lives and situations or whatever the case may be. And just think about who is your social influencer and why is that? Because as people, we live, we have a social people that surround a social network that is surrounding us. So on the Minty now, the question is, who is your social influencer and why? So while everybody is navigating through today, I'm also going to do the same and give you guys just a moment to go through that. Okay. And Megan, I think the link I did post it on the chat. I'm just going to send it there. There you go. All right.
Maybe you can share your screen, Kelly, so you can see the Menti so long, and as the answers come in, I'm also going to share, since we had some activity in the chat room, I'm going to share the Q&A link again for everyone.
Okay. Perfect. I'm gonna share my screen now, and so that we can all see what I'm busy with and looking at. Okay. So there are the answers. I'm gonna present them. Who is your social influencer and why? Some people are saying friends, Kim Kardashian, Andrew Tate, friends. Someone says Lionel Messi, because I believe he knows more than I do. Family. My church friends, interesting. Your best. Wow. Let me see why. He is ambitious and hardworking. Friends. Most people I see a lot of are being influenced by their friends. Bonang Mateba, my cousin, family. My dad, family. So most people say family. And Rihanna, she is successful singer. She's the best and she inspires me. Wow, that's interesting. God, okay. Tony Ferguson, all right. So this clearly shows that a lot of people in our social world can influence us, whether it's people close to us or people a bit further away from us, like, you know, Kevin Hart and Mariah Carey. Those people are not in our circle, but they can influence us the same way as our friends and our families can. Thank you so much, you guys. I don't know if my colleagues found anything more interesting on this that they want to comment on, but I think it's interesting, yeah. But most people have common influencers like family, friends. So thank you guys for sharing that. And
I think something that I'd like to add is I was enjoying the reasons why they said these certain things, and they're starting to point towards some of the outcomes in this section. So I'm sure you will refer to that now, Nkele, which was quite interesting.
Yes. So definitely this whole chapter is based on that, on how we as people are influenced and we conform to certain things, or sometimes we resist certain things depending on how influenced we are. So this exercise was just to show you that each person has some sort of influence from their social environment. And so basically I just want to turn my attention now to another activity just to give it more clarity on the two types, because the first outcome says we need to distinguish between the two types, the normative and the informational one. So I don't know if now the activity on the chat, Mienda, you said something. I'm going to give it back to you before I can continue.
No, there are no questions yet, so let's continue first. Give them some more time to ask questions.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Thank you so much. So the next one, just to clarify further, the two types of the social influence, I'm going to show you a few pictures and a video after that, and so that you can have an idea of what's happening with the two types of the normative and the informational. Right. I'm going to share again my screen. And then we can be all good. Okay. Did I stop sharing the other screen? Do you see my screen, Hulu?
I see that the content that you are sharing is only visible to hosts and co-hosts.
How's that?
I don't know if let's quickly check here. Okay, it's supposed to be just stop your screen sharing and try again, Kelly.
Okay.
Let's see if that works. If one of you are battling to see the shared screen, please send me a direct message. You are more than welcome to, and to see if you are able to see it. And Kelly is sharing it. So if you aren't seeing it right now, please quickly just pop me a message. Okay, perfect. They can see it. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Thank you, Megan. Thank you so much. So this picture here is picture of the Amish people, the Amish community. So if you can see with the pictures, this is how their lives are. They are mostly not, they don't live their lives based on the current technology. They still believe in farming, and they still believe in making their own clothes, and they still don't use any form of transport. They don't own cars. They can use public transport, but they don't own cars in their own space. They still ride on horses. And this is now the lifestyle of these people. But the biggest principles about the Amish people is that they are very religious, and the society is mostly based on how, there are leaders in the society, and it's mostly a masculine kind of an environment where women have their place and men have their place, and the roles there are very strict, and they are very defined. So this is a group now. When you think about the normative influence. So if you are this child growing up in this group, you would follow on the traditions and the norms of this particular group. And because you trust that the elders, they know what is happening and they are right? So I want to show you now, because the normative influence is all about you conform to the group because you fear rejection, you fear being not liked by the group, right? So the next video that I'm going to show you now on YouTube, remember now this picture is about the kids that have grown out of the Amish. They say they are breaking free from the Amish lifestyle. All right, so if everybody is ready for that, I'm comfortable to. So actually, this is a series that you can watch if you are interested. But I think what we wanted to see there is what can happen if you break free from the group. And this is what the text says, that sometimes people conform to the group, not because they agree or they want to confirm, but because they fear rejection and that they can be not liked by the group. All right. So after looking at these two, the pictures and now the video, I just want us to talk about it a little bit. In the Minty again, I'm gonna drop the link and just tell us, you have seen the video and you've seen the pictures, and now you have a better idea of what the Amish lifestyle is all about. And what would, if you were now, the question in the Minty is, if you were born Amish, like these people that we've just seen, would you stay or would you leave? So I have, I have now posted the link on the chat. Would you stay or would you leave? Looking at the first pictures that I showed you about their lifestyle, and even the video explains it a little bit on how their lifestyles look like. Would you stay or would you leave if you were born Amish?
I think it's interesting to have to imagine it, because if you haven't been in that situation, it's very difficult to put yourself in the shoes, because it's a very different type of life. But yes, let's play the game and try to imagine, what do you think would you have done had you been in that position? What are they saying? Let's see their answers.
Yes, here's the screen. Let's see. It depends, like you said, Mienda. People say it depends because it's not you. You have to just imagine it. But I see most people would leave. And I will leave. Most people would leave. I think I would leave, and somebody is also laughing there. But the one that says it depends is also right to say that it depends, because there's a lot of factors that play into part. In the video now, one girl says the group makes you feel like you don't love God anymore because you're rebellious, and also that can play a role in your decision. I will stay. So somebody would stay. I would like to, it would be interesting to know the reasons for staying. So I see a couple of people would stay. Leave because as a person, you need to know who you are and what you like, not what the public like. Okay?
That's interesting. No, yeah, it's interesting to hear the reasonings, yes?
Yeah, the reasons are very interesting. I would stay as someone that likes a peaceful space. So the other people will stay because of the environment. Leave, constriction limits potential for growth. Okay. But I see most people would leave with different kinds of reasons. Honestly, I don't know, but I would leave. I enjoy adventure. So mixed emotions there.
Yeah, I think again, it's difficult for us to understand because you leave everything you know behind.
Yeah.
You leave all your family, all your friends, all your relations, all you leave behind and start a new life in a world that you don't know, that's foreign to you, that you don't have the skills to live in because you're in a different world. So I think it's easy to say I'll leave, and I think the actual leaving is much more difficult. Yes.
I think another message, I got a few direct messages as well. I think it would be best to post them on Menti, but also the messages that I received refer to their normal world as the Amish setting that they know. And because that is normal to them, the people would actually consider staying because that is what is normal.
Yeah, that is quite important, that if you come from an alternative a little bit background and you tell your story to other people, they're like, what? But then that was normal for you. That wasn't what for you. It was normal. I mean, so you for us looking from the outside, it might seem, no, definitely I'm not going to stay there. But for the person who grew up in that, that's the only thing they knew. Yes, as the one girl said, she might have a lot of questions about what's going on in the world out there, but that is the norm for them. It's not weird because it's their lives. So I think it's important.
Yeah, and it's true what you're saying, Mianda, and also now the fact that sometimes you know when you talk about now the social influence, like you say, a lot of factors play into part. You know, you grew up there, this is all that you know, and you look at your influencers and you follow them because you know that if you do something else, it will now have consequences. And in this video, there's one particular mother who says, I will do everything that I can to get you back, because of the mother understands the impact of deviating from the group, you know. So the normative influence is about that. You confirm to the group dynamics or group principles, sometimes not by choice, but sometimes you confirm because there's fear in you that you might suffer the consequences. And even the text says we want to belong. We want to feel safe. We want to feel loved and accepted. And rejection is really an outcome that people really don't want. As human beings, we want to belong, we want to be loved. So people end up confirming because they want to feel accepted in that particular setup. Okay. I don't know if you can move on to the other part now.
Yes, we can.
All right. So the next part is the informational one. And on this one, I have just one Menti that I'm going to drop. So for us to talk a little bit about that, and then we can see how the two are different. So on the chat, I'll just drop the link. And I'm going to quickly navigate to my Menti and read to you the question on that. So we are still under outcome 1, and we are still focusing on the 2 different kinds of social influence.
Yes, and after this activity, I'll ask a few of the questions that already are posed. Many of the students are just giving us definitions of what it is. Thank you. That means you have prepared and you know what's going on. But the idea is also really to just assist you in understanding specific things. And there are a few questions that I will direct to you after this activity.
Okay, the question was, why do people bow to royalty, you know, to kings and queens? Why do you think people bow? And the next is like 2 statements. So let's see. So other people say it's out of respect, to show respect. Informational influence, okay? It's a sign of respect and submission, not sure. Okay, some people are not sure why that happens. Form of respect. So respect is the most common response from all of you. show respect and absolute commitment towards those in the form of authority. All right. They are confirmed to do so and show respect to them. They are showing respect. Okay. Cultural behavior, or if they have power, fear. They have power and fear. Okay, I'm not sure, but yeah, their cultural behavior. Okay. So there's only one person that said, I'm not sure why that happens, but most people seem to believe it is out of respect. Okay. So this question has two parts. Why do people bow to royalty? And the next question is, who first decided to perform this practice? And I see, okay, I'm gonna maybe copy and paste the link again because I see there isn't any responses. Oh, they, okay.
They're coming. Yeah, it's just
let's give them a bit of time. Okay.
those who bow. That's interesting. Who decided to perform this first? But how did they decide to bow? I mean,
People from long ago.
Sorry, Megan?
This is people from long ago, very, very long ago.
The Western societies, I'm not so sure about that.
Royalties themselves, maybe. Queen Elizabeth, okay. So most people don't know, right? I see a lot of people are not sure, but some people have an idea. Our forefathers, okay. Someone who felt superior than others. That's interesting. Servants, slaves. Okay, all right. All people, knights, wow. I don't know. Shaka Zulu, wow, how? That's interesting.
This is an interesting one. Even gorillas do it to show another is dominant. So probably since before written history. So that's an indication that animals sometimes also
They bow.
say to do it.
So royalty stares it. It means if you want to be bowed at, you need to tell the people to do it. So it was informed according to this person. Wow. Thank you guys. So I'm going to first stop sharing. So when we're looking at normative, not informational influence, this influence means we go along with what the group is doing, and we are hoping that they know what they're doing. Some people in your example said the slaves did it, and some people say the royalty themselves did it. So if maybe the workers in the palace saw the people bowing when the queen or king was coming, the other royal members, what did they do? They started doing it as well, but they don't know why it needs to be done. Maybe they found out later, but they follow the people that started doing it because they believe that no, they are royalty, they probably have an idea. They know why we need to bow, so they are going to bow as well. So, and this is also something that we have seen also in the prank video that we played. For some of you saw that. You just go along with the group and you're hoping that these people know what they're doing. When they say, take off your head, you are so confused, but you're doing it. And you believe that, okay, if everybody's doing it, it means it needs to be done. It's important that it needs to be done. But there isn't any factual reasons or like, yes, we are taking off our heads because we feel like it's hot in here and we need some air. No, you're just following what you're seeing with your peers. And this was shown in the textbook as well, with the light, it's with the light, yes. They say, how far did it go? And the people are like, no, 5 inches. And the others are like 5 inches too. So nobody thought, no, I need to think deep for myself. They just followed what the first person said and the third person, and it became like that. So that's what informational learning is all about. We learn, we are influenced by the group, not because they know, but because we believe that they know what they're doing. So I don't know if you ladies want to add something on that. I don't spend too much time on this.
There's a question about the autokinetic effect. You just mentioned it. We're not going to explain too much about because if you have been to the class, you know what we did there. But the question was, is this only about the movement of the eye? So we can talk about maybe the effect. Michele, do you want to take it, or should I answer?
You may summarize it, Mienda, it's still fine.
So autokinetic effect is just an example that they use in order to show you informational influence. So what happens is you see a light, and it's actually not, you just see the light and it's not moving, but because of the movement of your eye, it seems like it's moving, but you can't really be sure, and you're not sure whether it's going up or down or where it's going. So when you are in a position of not knowing, then you look at the people around you to get information. That's when it's an informational influence. So somebody asked whether it's just about the movement of the eye. Yes, it's this. The autokinetic effect is not a social psychology principle or concept. It is just used to illustrate that in that position you might look for information, and then you are going to. So it's an experiment that was done. So it is about the fact that your eye has a slight movement, and that's what causes this thing of you seeing some movement, although you're not quite sure what you are seeing. Okay, so that is important. Somebody asked, I don't know if you colleagues have an answer for that. I'm not sure I actually have. Somebody asked, can the theory of shooting stars be referred to as the autokinetic effect?
I don't think I'm an astrophysicist at all. I'm definitely a psychologist at heart, but maybe the autokinetic effect poses more or directs more towards something that you think is happening, but you are unsure of. Whereas I understand that shooting stars are an actual phenomenon that is happening. People can actually direct it and find it and prove it. So I'm not sure if a shooting star phenomenon ties into the autokinetic effect, purely because it is something that is proven and does happen, and we all know that. So I don't look at people asking, is this a shooting star? Because we know that this is something that is true and real.
So what is better an explanation based on first semester work is we did memory, and in memory you have sensory memory. Now a shooting star is something that moves, but you see it as a line. So that shows something of the brain's way of putting things together and holding the memory in your eye. So that's something totally different. So yeah, I wouldn't say shooting star. I don't know whether it's something specific. Shooting star theory. I don't know the theory of the shooting star, but yes, I don't. It's the same thing. Another question that I think we should answer before we consider going on is, can you give an example of so informational goes with certain acceptance, and then normative goes with a certain acceptance. Can you provide example of the private and the public acceptance?
Okay. I think I can maybe answer that, but maybe I'm going to start by explaining what the difference. The private one is your genuine inner feeling. I'm just referring now to, if you see me looking the side, to Ifundi now. It's a genuine inner belief that but that others are right. And the public one is outwardly going along with the group, but maintaining a private message that, a private inner belief that the group is not right. So an example would be if maybe you're going out, or maybe, for instance, if you are with your friends and they start ridiculing another girl and maybe start making fun of that person. So the private acceptance is that you are you are genuinely okay with what's happening and you believe that it's okay to bully other people and it's fine. But then the public one is that you can see what they're doing, but you are not inside. You publicly, you are doing it with them, but inside you're like, this shouldn't happen. This is wrong. I shouldn't be doing this. So publicly, you are doing what they're doing. So you are agreeing, you are going along with the group, but inside you know that we shouldn't be ridiculing this girl, we shouldn't be pulling her hair and doing all these things. But because of you are in the group, publicly you are agreeing with what they do, you're going along with what they're doing. But the private one is that it's a genuine belief that others are right. So for instance, you totally believe something with your whole heart, you don't even question it. It's genuinely you believing that this is okay and this is the right way of doing it. I don't know.
And
if
also,
you guys, yeah.
Yes, example in Kele that if the people around you start telling you all kinds of things about this girl, and that's why we are ridiculing this girl, you believe those things. It's not just you go with the flow, not to stand out. That's public, but you believe. Yes, I mean that girl is obviously weird, you know. So it's you make it your own. You didn't have information, and that's why it goes for the informational. You didn't have information about this girl. You didn't know her at all. So I mean, you couldn't have an opinion. Now you heard these things about her, and you now believe it. It's your private belief. So you changed what you believe, and that's why you got information and you were influenced in that way. While if you actually know the girl and you know she's not weird, but you don't want to feel out in this situation, you're going to go with the flow publicly, but deep inside, you know, no, this is actually a very nice girl. I mean, there's actually no reason for us to make fun of her. But I don't want to be out in this situation. So yeah, that would be an example of informational and normative, then with private and public acceptance.
Thank you, Mianda.
I think there are no other questions from there. There's some questions posed in the first outcome, but they're actually for the second outcome. I will throw them there. But other than that, it seems like most people do understand. They're giving some examples as well of this. So I think from question sides, we are done with the unit one. I mean, that's outcome one.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mianda. I'm going to continue to outcome 2 now, which focuses on the 4 types of the different techniques of social influence. So obviously in class we are doing some, and we are not going to do all of them in Zoom because we are definitely going to do others in class. So like we said before, whatever happens in Zoom is not what's happening in class. So I just dropped a link now of an activity to show one of them, you know, and then I will talk about that after we have done the activity. So there is the link, and then I'm going to go to your replies already. If you guys can have a look. So this one is on outcome 2. Yes. So the question here is, I'm going to share it now, the screen. Would you like to, it's a request actually, if there was a study that was being done, would you like to volunteer in an experiment? Let me share this so that everybody can see.
So you guys know that in research and in academia, research is very important. I mean, and for research to happen, we need people to volunteer. We need participants that will be ready to answer some questions, to do some things, you know, so that we can understand human behavior, especially if we're talking social psychology, that we understand human behavior better. So it's important that if you get the opportunity to volunteer for an experiment and be part of research, that you consider it very seriously, and you consider being part of making science and doing research. I see. I'm happy to see that most people will be happy to volunteer to be part of this experiment. So that's good news for research and for science.
Okay. Sorry. So, like the other one, pardon me, like the other activity, this has two parts. So after now that we see that everybody's interested in participating in this wonderful study that we're going to do now, this is now the next step where you need to also answer this now. Thank you so much, but you need to be there at 5 in the morning, every morning for this study. And okay. Yes, no, would you still be willing to participate? Yes, no, I see it's a struggle there. Some people, yes, some people a little bit. Okay, the noise is going up. Do you see that, guys? Now,
They are competing.
now our research is not going to, it's not looking so good for our research study now.
At least we have 62, 63 people.
At least we have 66 now, which is good. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. But we're gonna find out now why. Because with the low ball technique, what happens is that you first get a person to comply, like we enticed you to this new study now. That Meanda just explained that, you know, it's important, and when we do research, we need participants, and you really agree with us and you're interested. But now with low ball technique, you get a person to comply with the seemingly low request, and they commit to that. Remember this, the low ball technique is part of the confirming and consistency techniques. So you get first conformity, you confirm that I am interested, I'll do it. And then consistency now, that's the next part that we need to consider. So after you have confirmed, only later now we reveal the hidden additional costs that yes, you can participate, but it will cost you your sleep. You must be here every morning at 5. And we did see now in the Minty that that was a deal breaker for most of you guys. So that's one way of influencing people. You first throw in something that does not seem like a big deal. And when the person catches and said, yeah, it's okay. And then later on, you're like, yeah, but this is also the second part. And the person is like, I'm not sure. So now the question is, are they going to be consistent with what they confirmed to? So you can add me and it's okay.
No, so what is interesting in this case is that if we post, and I'm pretty convinced about that, if we post the question in a different way, how many of you can please participate tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock in an experiment? We would not have had as many students to participate as we still had even after they knew about the 5 o'clock. So even though many said no, there were quite a number of people who still said, okay, yes, no, it's fine, I'll come. And what this technique shows, and remember, I make it very clear in class as well, you guys learning about these techniques mean that you can be resistant. And I think that's what happened. Many of you were prepared, and so you knew, okay, I don't have to fall for this technique. But it also means that you can abuse these techniques. So please don't use this knowledge and abuse these techniques to get things done that are not appropriate. So in this case, we still got a bigger number of participants by using this technique to get them to comply. So remember, the second one is about compliance. We're asking you something, but the way we are asking it, there are certain techniques that we can use, and this will improve our chances of getting what we want. So it's a little bit of a cheating way to get what we want, a little bit of a manipulation, and we need to be aware of this. But it is definitely proven to be quite effective, and that's why we had a bigger number who said yes, even though they saw it's 5 o'clock, because they want to be consistent. They already said yes. They can't go back on their word now. How would that look? I mean, they committed already. This is the category. Remember, with the influencers, there are also different categories of influencers. yeah, I think it was interesting. I think we saw what research also found, that people would be more likely to still agree if they already agreed, and then they see the costs or the hidden aspects, because they want to be consistent.
I think another example that someone sent a direct message to me is, for example, Virgin Active, where they give you a nice joining fee, you pay it, and this is wonderful, and you are part of it. And all of a sudden, a month or two later, they push up their costs. Or if you don't want to gym anymore, they give you a hidden cancellation fee. So in the beginning, it sounds really good. You committed, it's beautiful, and then only at the end or later on, they start presenting you with these hidden costs that would have initially allowed you to not participate or not commit, and that's how they get you.
Very good example.
Yeah. Thank you for that. But now I feel now that we're going to move to others, we need to just mention that now, like Meander says, we need to be aware of these things, and how do we now defend ourselves against these things? So if you've seen also now in the book and in Ifundi, we have indicated that you don't have to commit to something that you were tricked into, right? Like for instance, what Megan just said, you were tricked into committing to this membership, and now all of a sudden there are a lot of costs. So what you can tell them is that I didn't know about this, so I'm not going to pay for the additionals. Because now they would present something and then later add something else. So if you're not clear, you need to ask first before you commit, because if you commit, it will be difficult for you not to be consistent with the commitment that you made, because sometimes it does bind you and you can't really get yourself out of it. So the first thing is that you need to wait and be clear and ask questions and understand what's going on. And if you are okay with that, then yes, you can behave consistently. But if you're not, and you feel like, this does not, it sounds too good to be true, and it does not sit well with me, do not commit. Otherwise, you'll end up committing to things that later on are going to be very difficult to be consistent with. I just thought I must just add that, how do we now free ourselves from commitments that were tricky in the first place?
So maybe I could just add a question here. Somebody wanted to understand what does, that's now from the questions, it was posed in the first outcome, but it's actually about the second outcome. It's about the public commitment, and how does that have an influence on whether you are influenced. And it was mentioned in the book. I don't know if you can talk a little bit about that, Kelly.
This is now in outcome 2, no?
Yes. So, I mean, in terms of the commitment, techniques based on commitment and consistency, when they were talking about how can you resist it in the textbook, that's what when they said one thing that can help you is when you have a public commitment. And I can give an example if you want to. For example, if you publicly announced as a student that you are not drinking, you don't drink alcohol at all, everybody knows this is your stance on this. So the book is saying that if you have a public commitment, you will be less likely influenced by the social setup. So if you are now in a situation where you are with friends and they say, no, drink with us, the fact that you publicly said, I am not drinking any alcohol, that is the way I want to live my life, that is going to help you to not be influenced by this social influence or the normative influence at this very point, or for people to try to trick you into things because you made a public commitment. And the example, of course, they use in the book as well is if your marriage vows, you do that publicly. So everybody knows. So if you're in that situation where you might be influenced socially, it's going to be easier to stick to your public vows than to say, okay, yes, I'm going to go with the flow. Let me let go of this marriage. It's not so easy. So if you did it publicly, it can help you to resist those social influences. Of course, it can work the other way around too. That depends on what you committed to in public.
And I think, Meander, adding to what you're saying, the fact that it's in public, it sort of binds you and it gives you some sort of responsibility to own up to your commitment and be consistent with it. So somehow it does make you want to comply because you did make a vow. And because of, remember the normative, the fear that if I do not stick to my word, I might be seen as a liar. I might not be trustworthy anymore. And people will never believe me in the future. So that also can just, incorporating it, that can also make you really want to commit and comply because of it was so publicly announced.
And to add to that, people keep you accountable. And it's very uncomfortable if someone had to confront you and say, but why aren't you doing this or this as you promised? And because people keep you accountable, then you feel a sense of responsibility to oblige to your promises.
Yes. Okay, Nkela, I'll just give it to you. There are many questions on all the different techniques in the question and answer, but not specific questions. I don't understand this part or this. It's mostly general, explain this, explain that. What's the difference between this and this? So I think we should go through the activities. We have some activities planned for the Zoom, and then a reminder, if you were in class already, you would understand certain things because we did activities there. If you haven't been in class, do come to class because that's when we will illustrate, demonstrate, really discuss some of these differences so that you can go out after this week understanding the differences and having some ideas of examples in your head. So we're not necessarily going to answer all the questions because some will be dealt with in class or are dealt with in class.
Yes, Meander, and like I said, the others that are not here, they're in class. So we will explain that more in class later if we can't finish everything. There's quite a lot of techniques. We can't go through each and every one, but we can maybe clarify them further in class if you still need assistance. Meander, I'm looking at the time. Is it fine if I move?
Yes. I think we should move on. So the first one we just did was low ball, and that forms part of the category, the techniques based on commitment and consistency. I think we have another one from this category.
From this category, yes, you're right, Meander.
Okay, let's do that.
Let's do that. I'm gonna again post in the chat and give you guys. Oh wait, and now it went to somebody specific. Let me change that to everyone, and then everybody can just go through that one. And I'm also now quickly going to go to where you guys are, and that one is based on. Okay. I'm gonna share it now. Basically, that activity is all about if you were walking around town and you see now at a specific shop, you have been looking, oh my God, that's already answers. You have been looking for these specific pair of sneakers, You've been eyeing them and you've been budgeting for them and saving for them, right? And all of a sudden you see them, there they are, you like the exact one, the exact size. And you see they are now 50% off. There's a clearance sale, it's like 50% off. But then when you get inside, now they are finished. Sorry, they are out of stock. The last pair was just sold a couple of minutes ago. Are you likely to shop around and look for something again that you can maybe, now that you're already here? Or are you going to walk away and say, oh, yeah, I wanted only that one, but, So there are the replies. It's quite in betweenish. So some people, 57 of you guys say you would still shop around. I believe because you're already in the shop. So now maybe there's something again as well that is on special that can maybe catch your eye. And I see others are like, I'm gonna really walk away because what you went there for is not there. So it's quite interesting to see. It's not a big difference. There's mixed emotions I see in the group, but most people would still hang around and shop around. And I think the part that I didn't answer, and I didn't add to this question, which would be very interesting, Mianda, to know, would you end up buying something? Or are you gonna shop and leave eventually? Or are you going to feel like, oh, I came in the store specifically for sneakers. I really want to buy something. It would be very interesting. I should have maybe added that as a third one. But when you just think about it, the ones that are going to shop around, are you going to end up buying? Or are you just going to say, oh, I'm here, let me just see what else do they have?
Let's remember this is a way of trying to get them into the store. This is the request in this situation is, can we get them in the store? And then if we have them in the store, we can possibly get them to buy something. So you might not have even thought of going into that store normally because you think it's too expensive, or you don't know it, you don't like it. So you would not have gone in there. Now this technique got you, it got your feet into that store. And whether you're actually going to buy something or not, you're now also seeing what they have in the store. So, you know, they accomplished it. Of course, they hope you're going to buy something, but in the response, we already saw you are going to look around. So that's exactly what they wanted, and their technique worked to get you. So often it is the case, there's some sale, and then when you get in there, the things on sale, they're really not very nice. But now you're in there, then you think, let me just check what else do they have, and you might end up buying something, or you might know you see something that you're going to buy later. The technique worked, the trick worked.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's why they call it the bait. You know, you got the bait. Remember, the bait is to catch the fish. So the fact that their attractive sale got you to be in the store is the bait, and then they can take it from there and persuade you more or influence you more to buy something else.
Michele, do you think this would be different from guys, for guys and girls?
It would be interesting, Amanda. I believe so.
It's a question that somebody's posing.
Is it? It would be interesting, but I believe so. I believe it will depend, actually, because now a lot of factors need to play into part. Do you have money? Are you interested? But you know, girls are known to be the biggest shoppers according to most people. So I believe the 76 would be from the girls that I would buy something, even if it's not in my budget. I'll go for something. And I seems to be more direct when it comes to shopping. When they go to the store, they want that. So I might sound a bit sexist, you ladies, you must now help me on this one. But generally, there's the whole misconception that we have about women liking shopping more. So most probably the girls would buy something, and it would be, their response will be different, and they will be influenced differently from the guys.
A little nugget of wisdom here. My husband always says to me that it is only as special when you have money to buy it. And that is really very true.
Yes, but I think it depends on what we're talking about. Because in this case, we talked about sneakers, but if it's, I don't know, video games or whatever guys are into really a lot, so there are general stereotypes about shopping, guys or girls, but I think the technique will definitely be able to be used in the same way on guys and on girls, but using different interests or products, because it depends on how you have to, you know, get them to take the bait. Now, of course, you're not going to use the same bait, so you're going to use different bait, but eventually technique is still you get them to be interested, and then when they are interested, you switch, and that's a way to get them.
Yeah. Amanda, I'm not going to talk about how to, because I already mentioned how to defend yourself on this particular technique. So I'm swiftly going to move to the next one, which I would like to do. And also there's an activity on that one that I would like the group to think about. And then we can have a look at what's going on. So now That one is based on the, okay, maybe I shouldn't say first. I'll say later when everybody is done with the activity. I'm at the Mincy now.
Just a reminder that the attendance register has been posted, and I will close it soon. I see quite a few of you have already completed it. And the time is running. We have 5 minutes, and we're still busy with the outcome too. So we have to move.
Okay, all right. So this is a word cloud that it's very interesting. Let me show you guys. The question was, what freebies specials has caught your attention? You know, those free parcela freebies. Yeah? So I see a free car, food, none, food, clothing and food, a free vision active free trial. Yes, that is a big one. And the Sheen, the Sheen one, where you buy something from Sheen and you get something for free data. Yes. I remember in one time, I think I was buying, something in the grocery store, and then you always get like a 5 rand coupon of like airtime. So if you buy with this certain amount, you get 5 rand airtime. So that was a catch for most people. Buy one, get one free. Yes. Chocolate, bag. Okay, so it's quite a lot, 50% off. Okay, thank you guys. So this is basically the technique that we are focusing on now. Let me first stop sharing that. The technique is that one that's not all technique, right? So it's one of the reciprocation techniques. So what happens with this one is that first, they make an inflated request that, but then before the person responds, sweetens the deal by offering a discount or a bonus, right? Like, yes, we are selling this fridge for 5,000 rand, but when you buy this fridge, you can get a toaster. And that is your bargain. We really give it out like that, you know?
And that's not all, Kelly. With the toaster, you also will receive a set of break or something, you know. That's so what is interesting about this is normally it's not really a good deal. So the initial deal is not necessarily good, and we're like, no, that's not good that's not a good price for the fridge. But it's not a good deal. Let me tell you what comes with this deal, and then you add those things, and eventually, and often they add more than one, you know, or they make it eventually seem like, oh my goodness, now this list becomes so long, and this seems like such a good package. You forget that the main thing you wanted is the fridge, you know, like you don't actually need the toaster and all the other things, you know, but it seems so good.
Yeah, and sometimes it will just be not even to add something tangible, like something that really like, this fridge comes with like a 5-year guarantee. Like for 5 years, you are sorted. If it breaks, you can always come back, you can always fix it. But then if it's something like that happens, we don't know. So this is just the way that they say, that's not all, that's not all. Then you get this you know, the reciprocation that happens, and then you end up now being influenced into agreeing with that. So yeah, I think that's the best way I can describe it with an example. I mean, is it fine if we move on?
Yes, let's move on to the last one.
We have a last one on this one, but before this one, I want to talk about it a little bit. Maybe I'm going to first share a Mincy link, and then maybe explain what's going on and show you. I'm going to share the link, but I'm not going to post it yet. And then I'm going to show you pictures of this guy. And you must tell me in the meantime what type of social influence technique is being used on this particular one. Okay, this is the one. Wait, what's happening? Are you seeing my screen or?
No, not
yet. Okay. There we go. So this is Ronaldo. For some of you guys who watch soccer, you know this guy. He's a soccer player internationally. He is very rich, right? So Ronaldo recently bought this Bugatti, right? So this Bugatti, it was a limited edition and they only did about 10 in the world. So because he has so many Bugattis, if you know about Ronaldo, you know he's a big fan of Bugattis. Every time there's a new edition that's coming, they would most likely call him and say, hey, guy, we have a new car. Are you still okay with the one that you have? But then this one, nay, look at the backlight, you guys. It's beautiful. And if you look at this crowd, this car is expensive. It's more than 300 billion. It's a lot of money, really. So this guy quickly, like he ran, and there was a competition. I don't know if it's David Beckham or there was a guy that they were fighting for this car. And he got it, and now he owns it. And he owns, in the headlines, if you read about this, they say he owns one of the world's most expensive car, right? So on a meeting, remembering this now, I want you guys to tell me what type of social influence was used on Ronaldo that got him to eventually comply. Where are you guys now? Let's see the chat, and I'm going to just enter that. So this was a very nice car. This is a very nice car, and it's very expensive. Okay. Okay, let's look at your replies. So this technique we are doing now is still the one based on, okay, I'm not gonna say, because then I'll be giving you guys the answer and I want you to give me. So I'm going to keep quiet and explain that when I have seen your replies and have shared with everyone. Let's share this. Interesting replies, colleagues. Let's see. Oh yeah, no, you got me. I probably gave it away somehow, but I'm glad that you guys can pick it up that this is the limited number technique. What happens with the limited number technique is that it's based on the scarcity. It's based on those scarcity techniques in which one tells people that this item is short supply and people feel like because it's very scarce, I need to get it ASAP. So this is what got him to buy this car. He doesn't need this car. He's got quite a lot of them. But the fact that it's scarce and how it was presented to him, I mean, they called him and they said, Ronaldo, we know you, guy, you like these things. We didn't want to give it to anybody else before we just checked in with you. We only made 10 of these in the world and it's like limited. It's gonna be finished. And then he's like, I'm buying it. So he got to conform. Right. So this technique is based on the techniques based on scarcity. And before we move on, I want to just mention how do we free ourselves from the scarcity ones. Scarce items are seen as more valuable. The more people feel like this is a limited edition, the more they feel like it has more value than other cars. It has more value than other brands because it's so scarce. So what we need to do is that we need to stop for a moment and not think with our emotional arousal. We shouldn't think with our heart and our feelings. We should stop and come down and think clearly, think with our minds, and don't say, yeah, but I love it. Because sometimes it's not that it scares, it's just portrayed as being that you can't get it, you know. So why do I want this item again? You need to remind yourself, do I need it? Do I really need it? If you don't need it, really, or am I just buying it because I'm told it's scarce and it's limited? If not, then you don't have to buy it because you don't need it, you know. So you have to first settle with yourself and reason with yourself, and then decide whether you're going to buy it or you are not going to buy it. Meanda, this is the end of outcome 2. If there are questions, we can quickly do that, and we have.
I think we're already over our time, 5 minutes, so we can only at most take another 5 minutes. I think I see many have left already, and they might have 11 o'clock class, but we can't go into the next class. So I think we move on. There were other questions about PIC, for example. Come to class, get some examples of that. We're not going to go into the detail of the ones we are using in class. So let's quickly go on to 3. I don't know if there will be time for many activities.
No,
even in terms of the questions of 3, there are not too many questions. Mostly, you know, what is the difference, but that's pretty clear cut. So I think let's see whether we can maybe do
one.
There
were 2, but I'll just pick one, Meanda, one that we can do.
That's good.
And then there's only one also in outcome 4. So we'll try and be quick with this. Let me post the one for outcome 4 already, so that while people are still here, we can quickly do that. So this one that I'm posting now is based on outcome 3. Outcome 3 is about the audience, the 3 sources of the information, the source and the message and the audience, right? So some of them we are going to discuss them in class, and some of them we are going to.
Just for them not to get confused, outcome 3 is about persuasion. So now this is about how do we persuade you to do something. And then when we are trying to persuade someone, there are important things to take into consideration, but the person giving the message, the actual message, also the audience. And then there are two big roots that are used in persuading someone. So this is now trying to get someone to change their mind, change their attitude about something. So this is what unit 3 is all about.
Yes.
I mean, outcome 3.
Outcome 3, yes. So it's about persuasion, but the 3 things that are important is the source, the audience, and the message that is going to be used. So now this activity is, if a 5-year-old told you that there is water on planet Mars, would you believe them? So clearly, everybody says no, and only 6% would believe this child. And the next part is, if a astrophysicist tells you that they have discovered water and probability of life on other planets such as Mars, would you believe it?
One person says no. They're very skeptical.
No. Okay, so most people would definitely believe the astrophysicist. But then why not the child? So obviously, when we're looking at the source credibility, we want to know that now the source is credible, and the source, thank you so much, you guys. We want to know whether the source has expertise in this field. This 5-year-old who's talking about having water in the planet, is this child just dreaming about it? Is it true? Is it like that? Does the child have expertise? No. So we are likely not to be persuaded by this message because the source does not have expertise and does not have, we cannot trust the source because what does the child know about the planet and the Mars? But the astrophysicist has probably been there, has probably done research on this. So he's a more credible source compared to the child. So what this whole outcome says is that sometimes we are persuaded easier based on the source's credibility, whether we believe them or we don't believe them, whether they have expertise or they don't have expertise, and the trustworthiness as well. So that's one part. The other parts, we have activities in class that we're going to do on the source and also now the other parts of this outcome. I'm so sorry, I know I'm rushing it a lot, but I don't know if there are specific questions, Neanda. You did say there are no questions.
No, I think we have to start wrapping up. So you maybe want to now give that opportunity for students to tell us, because it's quite late, whether they saw something.
The chat is open. I already got one. First one. Nonchalant, but it was a direct message to me though.
Michelle is the one that I'm seeing.
Nisi,
Yes,
Michelle, Nisi.
She's saying the gold bird. Is it the gold bird?
It is the gold bird. That gold bird is the Nazis' emblem. If you know Adolf Hitler, who was a very influential politician, he started this whole march, and he started this party, and this is their emblem. So if you want to know more about him and his life and how he persuaded a lot of people, you can just follow, maybe type on Google about his life. It's one of the activities that I wanted us to talk about, but it you know, in the interest of time, just go Google Adolf Hitler's life and influence in politics. He started a very big, yes, somebody said Hitler. He started a very big political party, and you're more than welcome to just follow it on the thingy.
So let's just link it back to the content. We don't have time to go into the detail, unfortunately, now. But this is about the two routes. This is about the central and the peripheral route. So if you know what the central and the peripheral route is, you will find how Hitler used both of those routes very successfully in order to persuade people. And that's why he's in this story. We're not doing history in any way, but he was a good example of how he used that. So that's still part of outcome 3. Then outcome 4, we don't really have much place. Oh, let's just hear Michelle. Which campus are you? So that we just know who's going to take something to us. Michelle Nisi. Just tell us from which campus you are, please. Vanderbijl, Park. Okay, Nkele, another one for you.
Yes, I see that. Michelle.
Okay, so the last outcome, and unfortunately we won't have time to do any detailed things about it. There's a quiz that you wanted to give about the two routes. We don't have time to discuss it much, but maybe we can just do that little quiz to end up the session.
Okay, Amanda, I'm gonna post the link now. It's on outcome 4, and then for the people that
it's actually still outcome 3. The two routes of persuasion is part of outcome 3. The outcome 4 is only about how do we resist it, which we won't get.
Oh yeah, I see that I have them stopped, but it's okay. Okay,
yeah, it's okay. So I think the two routes are important, so we can quickly do them. And in terms of resisting, or remember, you please attend SI sessions because they're also there and they can discuss this with you. It's just the last little bit that's outcome 4. Let's see the quiz. Are people prepared? Do they understand it? We'll conclude the session.
Okay, I posted the link, Amanda, and I gave sort of like a case study. And on that one, I would like them to identify which route of persuasion was used in that case study, basically. And I'm going to now share it so that you guys can also have a look. And there's quite a lot of answers now. There you go.
We have 218 people left. Thank you for staying this long. I don't know if we have anybody left on YouTube.
There we go. During COVID-19 vaccination, experts gave people pamphlets while playing loud music and displaying balloons and encouraged people to vaccinate. So which type of route of persuasion was used here? So most people say the peripheral one. and you guys. Only 9 say the central route, but it is the peripheral one, because remember that one focuses on simple, small cues, but the peripheral one focuses on more thoughtful consideration of facts, and it's more like the deliberate and the automatic response that we did even last week and even weeks before that. The central one is more on the deliberate, more thoughtful, more factual, and the peripheral one is more on the automatic, more simple cues and not involving a lot of things, focusing on how attractive things are going to look. Thank you so much, because I see at least more people understand this, Nyanda. I don't know if
Yes,
you want
I think so. I think we're going to end it off there. It is 11:01, so we really are into the next class, which is not our aim. In terms of admin related stuff, the quiz is open. There were some technical errors or problems that only went out last night, but it is open, and we'll give you till Monday night late to complete it, not Monday 6 o'clock. Just to give you a few extra hours. But if you have been preparing, you can just go and do the quiz now. And then we do also have the test date out now. So the test date will be on the 6th of October. We asked for a date and a time so that we know that it won't clash. We'll give more detail later, but on the 6th of October, you'll be writing test 2, which means the work that we just finished. So this week we are finishing everything on Unit 2, and the test, however, you will only be writing in October. So next week we'll start with Unit 3. We'll continue with the work, but you'll revise again in semester test week. So this is mid-semester assessment period. You will be revising your Unit 2 work again, and then you'll write about test about Unit 2, and then Unit 3's test will come at the end of the semester. So it's very important that you make sure that you have covered everything, and that you also then start preparing for Unit 3. Unit 3 is the longest unit, but it is a lot of interesting content. So I think that's all for admin stuff, and I think then we can conclude it here. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, students.